2018 Highlander oil change. Need 6 quarts of the 0W20. 0W20 6 quarts. So this is the oil filter housing and the oil pan. So we're gonna drain the oil first and then take out the oil filter. This is the drain plug. I'm gonna use a 14mm socket, 14mm socket for the drain plug on the oil pan. So the drain plug in the oil pan is 14mm counterclockwise. Okay, unplugging the drain plug. You loosened it with the 14mm socket already. So draining out the oil, push it up. Push up the drain plug so it doesn't spill everywhere. And make sure the washer doesn't come out. And bang. There you go. The crush washer, that's what it is. So don't let it fall out. There's a crush washer on the drain plug. Again, the oil pan is on the passenger side. This is the oil pan on the bottom right passenger side. Oil filter housing is on this right next to the oil pan too, which is this one. Oil filter housing. Now we're gonna take out the cap for the oil filter housing. You're gonna use your 3/8 inch driver. Just stick it in there and go counterclockwise to open. As you can see, it's hanging up there. And you want to make sure you have a drain pan underneath for excess oil. So I loosened it, and now I'm just gonna hand twist it open. There's probably gonna be some oil coming out. Alright. Then you want to make sure you wipe that down and clean it up before you put it back on. So this is the oil filter that I'm gonna use. With it comes with O-rings and a little drain plug. This is what we're gonna use next to drain out the rest of the excess oil in the filter housing. This is a tool and you plug it in. And I'll show you guys in a bit. So this is the tool that you're going to use to drain out the rest of the oil in the oil filter housing. You're going to stick up this end, so face it up like that, with the clips to go into the oil filter housing, into that hole where the oil filter is going to be located. So we're going to stick it up. It's going to clip on. It's going to click on. There's going to be oil gushing out. And there you go. It's going to drain the rest of the oil from the oil filter housing down into your drain pan. So you just wait until all the oil comes out. And again, this plastic tool usually comes with oil filter when you buy it. So this is what it looks like with the oil draining out from the oil filter housing. It's gonna be a while. Just gotta be patient with it. Gotta make sure that you have the oil cap open too up top, under the hood, on the engine block. So the oil cap should be off. Now, although I drained out all the oil that I could from the oil pan, from the drain plug, there's still a lot of oil coming down from the oil filter in this process. So you have to be patient. It does take a while. And as you can see, if I stopped and slowing down right now. Now that it's drained out, we can pop out the plastic piece. It's kind of tricky. And the old washer, black washer, should have popped out with it, which you're going to put in a new one later. As you can see, the black old washer popped out. So now we could take off the black oil filter cap with your tool. So we're going to take the oil filter cap off with this tool. Stick it to your wrench, socket wrench, and pop off the oil filter cap with it. And I will show you guys that in a bit. You're going to use your socket wrench. Alright, so it's pretty easy. Just going to attach the socket wrench right onto the top of the cap. And there you go. You have your tool ready to use to take off your cap. So again, the oil filter tool, there's some notches that you're gonna have to find to fit into the little notches up here on the housing. And once you hook it up correctly, you can start going counterclockwise to take it off, like so. All right, so once you get it loose enough, you can hand loosen it for the cap to come off, and it should just pop right out. And that's how it looks like, the oil filter housing on top. And you want to videotape that? So this is what the oil filter housing looks like. This is the old oil filter that you're going to throw out. And that's the housing that you're going to use for the oil filter. This is your throw out. Okay, so this is the pick set. Again, you're going to use this to take out the O-ring. Whatever works for you. You're going to pop out the O-ring, which is right here. You can kind of see it. So make sure you take a note of where it's located so you can put in the new O-ring there. So I'm going to use this tool. Pop it in. Slide it right in. And hook it on. And roll it out. And that's your old one. Then you're going to put in the new one, which we're going to do. First, you want to wipe it. Just keep it clean as much as you can. The whole component, inside and out too. And then you could put in the new O-ring. So typically the O-ring comes in set like this too. So we're gonna pop on the O-ring, the new one. Slide it down. So again, make sure you kept note of where it was at. So which is on the bottom notch. Not all the way to the line, but on the bottom notch of the grooves is where it should go. Okay, so earlier we took out the old O-ring right here from the outside. housing where the bolt goes. So I'm gonna pop it on for now. Just hold it in, and then I'm gonna pop in the new filter. Stick it right in, and this is how it looks like. With the O-ring, new O-rings right here, and the new O-ring is down here too. So those are the two spots where you have to put the new O-rings on, just in case if you forgot. Again, oil filter, O-rings. Alright, so you're gonna, next step is you're gonna put this on, tighten it back on. That's the drain plug. Just hand tighten it. Once you hand tighten that, you're ready to go back up on the car. Okay, now with the oil filter in the compartment, next step is we're gonna put some oil in 0W20. You want to fill it into the compartment here, almost all the way to the top. So now you want to fill with the oil filter in. You want to fill it up, some oil into the compartment. Fill it up as close as you can to the top, not all the way to the top end, so it doesn't spill out when you screw it back on. Tighten it back onto the car. Okay, now we're gonna hand tighten it back onto the car, the compartment, the oil filter compartment with the oil in it and the filter in it. Make sure you had your O-rings on already. It's a little tricky, but you want to hand tighten it. Make sure it goes up nicely. And then we'll use our tool to tighten it more tight. But for now, just hand tighten it. Okay, so we're gonna use the tool again to tighten it up, the compartment up, lining up the notches. Okay, and you want to tighten it up to about 25 pounds of torque. And making sure that you're lining it up as straight as you can. So to tighten it, you're doing it clockwise. So we're using the socket wrench to tighten up this bolt here. With no sockets, just sticking the square in and going clockwise. Alright, looks tight. Okay, so the next step, you want to wipe down everything as much as you can. The oil, any wet spots, so that you can double check later to see if there's any leaks anywhere. So basically, anywhere you see oil, you want to wipe it down as much as you can, just so that you can check later to make sure that there aren't any leaks. Next step is you're going to go back and use your socket wrench to tighten the drain plug. Again, it's 14 millimeters to hand tighten your drain plug again. Alright, so we're going to put in oil, refill the oil, and it's 5.8 quarts, 5.8 quarts, and we're doing the 0W20 oil. Just a little bit. So just slowly pour it in, no spills, and we should be good.